Yeah, I really resonated with a lot of the questions from both yesterday and today. And I was just wondering, do you see, um, I guess, the best way to kind of disidentify with the constructed or conditioned self? Um, Seems like what you're saying is sort of welcoming everything. But sometimes it's difficult to do that, um, because we're all in the world, so to speak, or the world is in us. I guess, yeah. So I just wonder if you have any suggestions about, um, um, like not continuing to defend and protect the small self. I notice the ego comes up and it says, "Don't do this," or "Do this," and I'm kind of training myself not to listen to that voice, the one that says, I don't know, sort of the bad angel, not the good angel. So, yeah, and I find when I get into trouble when I listen to the wrong voice. And it's like an attunement or whatever that I have to be, more aware of because these things are familiar patterns. They seem to come in a certain pattern. And especially when it comes to being vulnerable or things like that. It's trying to protect me, so to speak, but in the end, it's just causes more suffering.
Mm.
And related to that, I don't know, this sort of, is there such a thing as the end of suffering? Not pain, I understand because the body is going to be pain, but suffering from the mental standpoint seems to be something that could be ended.
Okay. Um, First of all, addressing the first part of your sharing and question, what you are describing as your ongoing alignment to the good angel, let's call it, is your path. Then continue in this way, because in this way you become sensitive to how suffering is created by giving your allegiance to the one that wants to defend itself, attack, or withdraw, or whatever it is. And gradually you will come to sense the intelligence, the love, the freedom in the other strategy, which is not really a strategy, but simply that is surrender. The surrender, the stop within that mechanism of defense, attack, protection, withdrawal, whatever it might be. So you are supporting and harnessing within yourself that inner sensitivity, which is your inner navigation. This is beautiful. Continue in this way. Yeah? And yes, patterns, conditioning, karmic patterns, ancestral patterns, this lifetime patterns, psychological patterns, they have grooves and they repeat, and some of them are sticky, but we do have the capacity in the way that you're describing for those patterns for us not to give allegiance to those patterns. Yeah? And sometimes we do, and sometimes we don't, and this is your inner navigation. Is there the possibility of the end of suffering? Not pain, suffering? Absolutely. Absolutely. This is what's being spoken about here. The end of suffering. That's freedom. Now, the human condition, or the human experience, I should say, continues, whatever that might be, in our everyday lives, in our work, in our family, in our interactions, in our the body, the aging process, this, that, the other. It continues. But psychological suffering comes to an end. Psychological suffering is simply resistance, to boil it down to one thing. Yeah? It's the end of resistance.